Let me ask you a question. Where does wealth really begin? It's not in your bank account. It starts in your mind. If you've ever felt stuck, like you're working hard but just spinning your wheels financially, it's not because you aren't trying. It's because your thinking is stuck in survival mode. This audiobook summary is your guide to rewiring that thinking. We're going to help you uninstall the scarcity mindset that keeps people poor and install the mental frameworks of the wealthy so your actions can finally start creating the results you want. By the end of this, you'll have the tools to build the financial abundance you've been looking for. If you're ready for a real change, make sure you subscribe for more life-changing audiobooks just like this one. Your transformation starts now. Part 1. The Foundation, Your Mental Operating System. Chapter 1. The Ownership Principle. The real starting line for creating wealth isn't a business plan, a hot stock tip, or an inheritance. It's the unwavering, non-negotiable decision to take 100% responsibility for your financial life. This is the ownership principle, and it's the first and most important investment you will ever make. So many of us exist in a state of quiet blame. We blame the economy, our boss, our background, or the government for our financial struggles. Our language is filled with, "I can't afford it," or "if only." This is the victim mindset, and it's the single biggest barrier to building wealth. A victim believes life happens to them. A victor believes life happens for them and because of them. Thinking like a millionaire means you permanently delete the blame game from your mental programming. You have to understand, deep down, that your financial reality is a mirror reflecting your thoughts, habits, and decisions. Your success is your fault. Your mediocrity is your fault. And your financial struggles are your fault. Now, this isn't meant to be harsh. It's meant to be liberating. The moment you stop blaming outside forces is the moment you reclaim all of your power. You're no longer a passenger in your financial life. You become the driver. Millionaires don't wait for a lucky break. They create their own opportunities through relentless action. They see their mind as their single most powerful asset, and they guard it fiercely. They understand a simple but profound equation. Your thoughts create your beliefs drive your actions build your habits, and your habits determine your destiny. If you want a different financial destiny, you can't just start by changing your job. You have to start by changing your mind. You must accept that you are the creator of your financial world, for better or for worse. Once you truly accept this ownership, and only then can the real work of building wealth begin. Chapter 2. Rewriting Your Money. Every single person has a money script. Think of it as an unconscious blueprint, a set of deeply held beliefs about money that runs your financial life on autopilot. This script was written for you long before you earned your first dollar. You picked it up from what you heard your parents say about money, what you saw them do, and the feelings that surrounded finance in your childhood home. Was money a source of joy and opportunity, or was it a source of stress and arguments? Was it a tool for good, or the root of all evil? Were wealthy people seen as smart and generous, or greedy and dishonest? The answers to these questions form the code that's running your financial life right now.
The problem is, most people are running on scarcity software. A scarcity mindset believes there isn't enough to go around. It views life as a zero-sum game, where if someone else wins, you lose. This mindset breeds fear, jealousy, and a constant feeling of lack. It's that voice in your head telling you not to invest because you might lose the little you have. It's that pang of anxiety when a friend succeeds as if they've taken a piece of a pie that was meant for you. A scarcity mindset is all about survival, not growth. Thinking like a millionaire requires a complete mental reset. You have to consciously rewrite your money script, shifting from scarcity to abundance. The abundance mindset is the core belief that there is more than enough for everyone. It sees the world as an ocean of opportunity and creativity. Someone with an abundance mindset isn't afraid of another success, they're inspired by it. They don't think, why them and not me? They think, if they can do it, it proves what's possible for me too. This shift isn't a small tweak, it's a fundamental transformation. You stop seeing money as something to be hoarded and feared, and start seeing it as a tool to be circulated and grown. You stop focusing on pinching pennies and start focusing on creating value. This reprogramming starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts about money. When you catch a limiting belief like, money is hard to come by, or I'm just not good with money, stop, identify it, and consciously replace it. For example, replace I'll never have enough with I am a magnet for opportunities and can create all the wealth I desire. It might feel weird at first, but with repetition, you are literally rewiring your brain for wealth. You can't build a rich life on a poor mindset. It's time to write a new script. Chapter 3. The Power of Long-Term Vision. Most people live with financial short-sightedness. Their focus is on the immediate, this week's paycheck, this month's bills. They're so busy surviving the day that they never take time to design their decade. This short-term thinking is a classic sign of the scarcity mindset. It prioritizes today's comfort over tomorrow's freedom. Millionaires, on the other hand, are masters of long-term vision. They think like architects, not just bricklayers. They have a clear, detailed picture of the financial life they plan to build over the next 5, 10, even 20 years. This long-term perspective isn't just a wish, it's a strategic plan that guides their daily actions. It's this clarity of purpose that fuels their discipline long after motivation has faded. Having a long-term vision answers the most important question: why do you want wealth? For many, the first answer is to have more money. But that's a desire, not a vision. A real vision goes deeper. Is it the freedom to wake up and own your time? The ability to give your family incredible experiences? The power to make a huge impact on a cause you believe in? Your why has to be so compelling that it pulls you through the tough times. When you operate with a long-term vision, your decision-making changes completely. You stop asking, what do I want right now? And start asking, does this move me closer to my 10-year vision? Suddenly, that impulse buy seems less appealing when weighed against funding the business you want to launch. Working an extra hour to learn a new skill becomes an investment, not a sacrifice, because it aligns with your goals.
This is the power of delayed gratification. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about choosing future freedom over instant pleasure. Millionaires understand the power of compounding, not just with money, but with their habits and knowledge. They know that small, consistent efforts today will lead to massive results down the road. To build your own long-term vision, sit down and write out in vivid detail what you want your life to look like in 10 years. Where do you live? What's a typical day like? What impact are you making? This isn't a silly exercise. It's you creating your own financial roadmap. Without a destination, you're just drifting. With a clear vision, every step has a purpose. You stop living day to day and start building a legacy. That is thinking like a millionaire. Part 2. The Action Framework. Habits of the Wealthy. Chapter 4. Failure as Data. For most people, the fear of failure is a cage. It keeps them in jobs they hate, stops them from starting the business they dream of, and prevents them from making investments that could build their future. The thought of losing money or looking foolish is so paralyzing that they choose to do nothing, which guarantees they'll never reach their goals. Millionaires have a completely different relationship with failure. They don't see it as a final verdict. They see it as essential data. They understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a critical part of the journey to success.
Every mistake and every rejection is just feedback. It's the price you pay for a valuable lesson. This mental shift turns failure from something you fear into something you can use. When a project fails, the average person thinks, "I'm a failure. I'm not cut out for this." Their identity gets tangled up in the outcome. The millionaire mindset, however, separates identity from the result. They say, "The strategy failed. What did I learn? What will I do differently next time?" They analyze the failure like a scientist analyzing an experiment. Was it the wrong approach? Bad timing? They dissect the result, pull out the lesson, and apply that new data to their next attempt. This resilience is what allows them to bounce back smarter and stronger. This mindset is what empowers the wealthy to take calculated risks. They aren't reckless, but they also aren't paralyzed by fear. They know that the biggest risk of all is staying in your comfort zone because it guarantees you'll never grow. So they make bold decisions, understanding that some won't pan out. But because they see setbacks as an investment in their education, the cost of failure is just tuition. To build this mindset, you have to intentionally step outside your comfort zone. Take a small risk, start the project, make the call. When you hit a snag, fight the urge to beat yourself up. Instead, ask the powerful questions. What did I learn? What was the flaw in my process? How can this experience make me better? The path to wealth is paved with mistakes. Those who are unwilling to make them will never finish the journey. By reframing failure as data, you give yourself permission to act, learn, and grow. You stop being afraid of falling and start getting excited about rising smarter.
Chapter 5: The Circle of Influence. You've heard the saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This isn't just a motivational quote, it's a fundamental law of success. The people you surround yourself with, your circle of influence, are shaping your thoughts, your standards, and your financial destiny. Many people don't realize their financial potential is being suffocated by their social environment. They're surrounded by people with a scarcity mindset, people who complain, gossip about others' success, and see only limitations. Being in that environment is like trying to swim against a strong current. No matter how hard you work, the constant flow of negativity and doubt will wear you down. Millionaires are deliberate about who they let into their circle. They know that mindset is contagious, so they actively seek out and build relationships with positive, growth-oriented people. They surround themselves with individuals who are playing the game at a higher level, whose conversations are about ideas and opportunities, not people and problems. This isn't about being elitist, it's about protecting your own mind. A strong circle does a few things. First, it normalizes success. When you're around people achieving big goals, your own ambitions feel more possible. Second, it's a source of knowledge and mentorship. Millionaires are lifelong learners who seek advice from those who've already done what they want to do. A strong network holds you to a higher standard. They won't let you make excuses or think small. They challenge you to be better. This principle is especially true for your most intimate relationships. A supportive partner who shares your financial values is one of the biggest accelerators of wealth. Having someone on your team who encourages your goals and practices financial discipline with you is incredibly powerful. On the flip side, being with someone who undermines your efforts can make building wealth almost impossible. Take an honest look at your circle of influence. Do the people you interact with most lift you up or pull you down? Do they talk about abundance or scarcity? This doesn't mean you have to cut off friends or family, but it does mean you must be intentional about spending more time with mentors, mastermind groups, and peers who reflect the future you want to create. Your income and your mindset will eventually match your social circle. Choose it wisely. Chapter 6: The CEO of You, Inc. The final framework for thinking like a millionaire is to treat your life and finances like a business. You are the CEO of You Incorporated. Your skills, your time, and your money are all assets of that corporation. As CEO, your main job is to grow the value of that corporation over time. Most people are passive about their finances. Money comes in, money goes out, and whatever's left is spent or saved without a real strategy. They are essentially absentee employees in their own lives, not managing their personal enterprise with the seriousness it deserves. A CEO, however, is strategic. A CEO knows their numbers. They have a clear picture of their company's profit and loss, your income and expenses, and its balance sheet, your assets and liabilities. They don't just hope for a profit, they create a budget and financial plan to ensure it. Thinking like a millionaire means you must track your income, categorize your spending, and know exactly where your money is going. This isn't about restriction, it's about control. It's about making conscious choices that align with your long-term vision.
Furthermore, the CEO of You Inc. is obsessed with growth. They're always looking for ways to increase revenue, which for you means increasing your earning potential. This is where continuous learning is key. Millionaires are lifelong learners. They invest in themselves by reading books, taking courses, and gaining new skills that make them more valuable. Research shows that practical intelligence, discipline, and a strong work ethic are far more tied to wealth than a high IQ. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being the most committed to growth. Finally, a CEO thinks in terms of investment and return. They see investments, not just expenses. They ask, will spending money on this book or this seminar provide a positive return in the future? They also master the difference between an asset, something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability, something that takes money out. The wealthy focus on acquiring assets like businesses, real estate, and investments, while many others accumulate liabilities they think are assets, like expensive cars and consumer goods. By adopting the mindset of a CEO, you go from being a passive observer to an active, strategic leader in your own financial life. You take ownership, commit to lifelong growth, and make disciplined decisions that build your net worth for the long haul. You become the one in charge. We've walked through the core principles that separate the wealthy from everyone else. It starts with the ownership principle, accepting that you are the creator of your financial life. From there, you have to rewrite your old scarcity-based money script and install a new program of abundance. You then use a compelling long-term vision to guide your daily actions, designing your decade, not just your day. Then you put it into practice. You learn to treat failure not as a final judgment, but as priceless data. You recognize the huge impact of your social circle and deliberately surround yourself with people who lift you higher. And finally, you step into the role of CEO of You Inc., managing your life with the strategy of a successful leader. Notice the common thread? Not one of these things is about a hot stock tip or a secret algorithm. Every single one is about your mindset. Of course, external factors and luck play a role in anyone's story, but your mindset is the one thing you have absolute control over. True, lasting wealth is an inside-out game. It's not something you chase. It's a reflection of the person you decide to become. The wealth you want isn't something you find. It's something you build, one mental block at a time. Start thinking like a millionaire today, and your reality will have no choice but to catch up. If this summary gave you value, please share it with someone who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more complete audiobook summaries that will help you build a life of abundance.